Alright, so it's day 2-ish. It's actually day 4 for me, because I've been working while Seth's been away. I didn't really accomplish much. I just put the dash speakers in and the door speakers, which really isn't that exciting, so there was no reason to film it. It's literally just taking half of the door apart, putting a speaker in, putting the door back together. I did the driver's lock actuator while I was in that door, so that works now. And what else did I do?
You started some prints. We'll go over that later. What got printed out.
Yeah. So, I also found out I have automatic headlights, which is just
interesting.
Yeah, and they actually work.
Which is crazy. But
yeah, we're getting really close to everything working on this car. Knock on wood. But today we're going to be working on speaker grills for the dash pad. I've got those printed up. I also need to fix a lens in the passenger door that fell out like 2 years ago, and I finally got around to fixing it. And we're going to talk a little bit about the rear speaker grills and how I'm going to take care of those. But first, let's start off. We'll go over and take a look at how I came up with the speaker grills for the dash pad. Okay, so what we have here is the dash pad out of my Mercury. And as you can see, it's got these big holes in it where the old speaker grills used to be. It was actually just a set of perforations that they had punched into the dash pad. You can kind of see this is the one for the headlight sensor, but it was just a bigger version of that. And it was so brittle that when we took it out, I just stuck my thumb right through it. Completely fell apart. So we're going to get rid of that, obviously, because it looked horrible. And we're going to replace it with these. These are 3D printed grills that I whipped up using Fusion 360 and my Creality printer. And they're made out of ABS, so they won't warp in the sun or anything. They should be pretty sturdy. They should kind of stand the test of time, especially since we're going to paint them. That'll help with the UV rays. But the nice thing about these, this one still has supports on it. This one just came off the printer. But I have another one here that is installed, kind of, in the hole. And you can see that all we're going to have to do is silicone that in place after we paint it and sand it down so it's all smooth. And then we'll have a nice, finished, semi-factory looking grill shell. And that's actually one of the great things about having something like a 3D printer is when you have these plastic era cars, you can fix stuff like that. You can make stuff look kind of factory because you have the ability to produce things that kind of resemble what the factory would have done. So we're going to get to sanding these and filling them a little bit so they're all nice and smooth. And then we'll take them outside and shoot them with a coat of paint and hopefully have them siliconed in here by the end of the day so we can get the dash pad back on. Alright, so we're in the car. The grills are outside. The primer is drying on them. They're waiting for a color coat. Meanwhile, we're going to be inside the car, actually, because I installed these gauges. They're just a simple set that you can get at your local auto parts store. But I put them in because I didn't quite trust the idiot lights, especially when you got 30-year-old wiring. You really don't want to be trusting those, so I put these in so I could actually watch what was going on. I made this panel on the 3D printer, and that was a couple years back. But as you can see, it's pretty warped. It's made of PLA, and PLA just does not stand up to the heat, especially here in the California sun. So I printed a new one out of ABS, which should be better. And what we need to do right now is cut these gauges out of this panel, and then I'll show you the new panel that we're going to put in because it's kind of a big ordeal. So I'm just gonna crush them out of there with these, possibly, if they'll get around it. Nope, we're gonna need something bigger.
Oh no. He returns with bigger snips.
Okay, these Fisker things aren't really meant for this, but I'm sure they'll be fine. Just gotta be kind of careful to not damage the gauges, and I already have. Man, what did I make this out of? Titanium? Nope, it's PLA, but apparently it doesn't want to break now. Okay, we're gonna need something bigger.
Angle grinder.
Can't be stuck if it's a liquid. So there, that ought to free that one up. So that's the old PLA gauge panel. We don't need that anymore because it's, well, it's destroyed now, but it was just warped before. Now it's destroyed. Okay, so this is what is going to comprise the new gauge panel. These are both made of ABS. They're 3D printed on my 3D printer. And what we're going to have to do, because I can't remove these gauges from the car because they're hooked up to the motor. I could, but I don't want to. We're going to clamp these around the new gauges. We're going to use a little bit of acetone to chemically bind them together. And then obviously I didn't want this big ugly seam down the front. So outside, also getting primed, you will have seen it in the primer shots, is a
faceplate.
A faceplate, yes, thank you, for this, which is one piece. So we'll get the gauges in here, get it all bound together, and then we will paint up the faceplate, sand it, make it look nice, and then we'll just glue that to the front of this, put it all in, and we'll be good. You know what would probably hold it together really good?
A clamp?
If I screwed it into the dash.
Oof.
Alright, so in just pulling this out of the shop, in and out of the shop, we've noticed that it surges really bad at idle. So I started looking around, trying to figure out what was going on. And what I think I have figured out is that the vacuum lines that run to the evap canister are, well, they're certainly bad. Whether or not that's the problem remains to be seen, but definitely we're going to replace those right now, and hopefully it'll fix the surging idle problem. This is the line we have. Hopefully it'll fix that surging idle problem, and we'll be good to go again. So we'll get these in.
Galen, what you doing there?
Well, I was doing some vacuum line things, and I dropped my vacuum line, so now I'm actually between the radiator and the grill, looking to see if I can find it. Oh, there it is. Okay, how am I going to get that? It's kind of wedged. I need like one finger. Aha! Bingo! Alright, I gotta get out of here. Hold on. Okay, so we've got the gauges reinstalled in the dashboard. Kind of a hassle. Suddenly, after 2.5 years of being fine, it decided the ground was not the ground it wanted, so we had to run a new ground real quick, but now that's sorted, so we should be good to go. It seems happy. What we're going to do is we're going to brush some acetone on the back face of this little facade panel, and then we're just going to place it right there on the front, hold it in place until it is nice and tacked on there, and then we will be done, and we can put the faux wood grain thingy back
Enclosure, grill enclosure, or not grill,
Gauge.
gauge enclosure thing.
Yep.
Thing. We know things. We know what we're talking about.
So you want to do this when the paint isn't cured so that you leave your thumbprints in the middle of it there. That did not want to stay there, but this is not okay. What we're gonna do, bring this in the car. Do not do this, because this is very dumb. But I'm gonna hold it with my knees, because I'm a pro. This means I can do is really get it in here right away. And just get that on there before. Let's see, I can dab it in there. Press on it alarmingly hard. So there we go.
Wow.
Now let's go talk about the debacle that is the dash speaker. Okay, so you may be asking yourself, why are they going to the trouble of making these speaker grills? Well, like I said before, the dash was completely destroyed. Second of all, this is the grill that they give you. Turn it the right way. Now, this is great. At least it's included. But let's be honest, if I put that on the dash, I don't think I could live with that. So, because I'm extra, what we've done instead is made these. Now, these are fantastic, and they actually came out finish-wise a lot better than I thought they would. But they are completely the wrong color. I mean, they may as well be like orange, because when you put them against the dash pad, it's like a night and day difference. So these are great. They're at least sanded now and primed, so we can sand back down to the primer actually and use that. But I need to go search for a better color match for this. I'm okay if it's a little off, because the whole interior, like I said before, is a little bit all over the place. So, but none of it is that drastically different. So what I'm gonna work on tomorrow is getting the right paint color. Probably gonna take a piece of this dash if I can, and go to all the local home goods stores and auto parts stores and see if I can find something that I trust will actually look right. Once we do that, I got some silicone that we can use to install those in these holes, and then we'll get the dash pad back in. So all that is going to happen tomorrow. Now sleep.
It's on that window. Oh, yeah, just grease. Just grease. Just John Travolta and anyway.
Sandy!